Cracker Barrel. The name alone, it's sacred. It's America. It's rocking chairs, biscuits the size of your fist, and a store full of things nobody asked for, but you buy anyway. And now they've gone and changed the logo. Here's the truth. Nobody asked for a new logo. What we wanted was unlimited biscuits. What we wanted was a third peg in that triangle game so we could finally win. But no. Instead of giving the people what they want, they gave us a logo that looks like it was designed by sleepy Joe Biden. At what point do we as a country put a stop to this tyrannical destruction of our rich culture and history?
It's all about evolution with intentionality. We've been very transparent about our goal of making our stores feel brighter and even more welcoming than they already are, while maintaining that country hospitality and charm that we're known for. We're just looking at ways to freshen up the experience so that we can open our door a bit wider for more guests. And when we think about what we're trying to do, it really is, again, about listening to what the guests ask for, and what the guests, and examples of what the guests ask for are things like spaces that feel brighter, that feel less cluttered, more booth seating, more seating options, so our guests are more comfortable while they're dining with us.
Honestly, the feedback's been overwhelmingly positive that people like what we're doing. I'll give you another soundbite. I actually happened to be in Orlando last week with all of our managers. We bring them together and every other year. And the number one question that I got asked, Michael, was, how can I get a remodel? When can I get a remodel? How do I get on the list?
Oh, really?
So because the feedback and the buzz is so good, not only from our customers, but from our team members. They want to work in a wonderful restaurant. So we're doing everything for our guests and our team members.
I gotta be honest, look, I don't often go to Cracker Barrel, but when I do, I don't go for the food, I go for that old style Southern charm, the place that makes you feel like you're at a mom and pop store that your grandparents could have went to. And I don't understand these corporations' obsession with self-destruction, right? Remember Jaguar, they went from being like sexy and sleek to this really unrecognizable brand, and they lost sales. I think Cracker Barrel might do the same because, again, no one's going there for the food. They're going there for that Southern charm.
I disagree, and we will throw down about it after this. Okay.
I've said this before and I'm going to say it again. Liberal white women are possibly the worst demographic in the entire country. I mean, these people just get into stuff and just start tearing it apart for whatever reason. Look what they did to Disney. Look what the hell they did to Marvel. Now look what they did to Cracker Barrel. They are obliterating Cracker Barrel. They are turning Cracker Barrel into a niche spot. Bro, I think I speak for all black people. We need Cracker Barrel to go back to its Jim Crow era. When I step into Cracker Barrel and I feel that Jim Crow, I know the food about to slap hard as hell. It's about to slap harder than a pimp hand. And now they got this mud looking like La La Land. Get this woman up out of there. She about to ruin one of the best food franchises in America.
In reference to all the crap that's been going on about Cracker Barrel, I just wanted to show you this one thing here. This is Steak and Shake, a relatively big, chain. You find them in malls, and they've got, outpad locations in certain area. Good food, decent food. And I'm amazed that they posted this and took this stance. I had to dig in. I'm like, is it really the real Steak and Shake? Is it the corporate, or is this a parody? No, it's the actual Steak and Shake page. And they came out and said this. Sometimes people want to change things just to put their own personality on things. At Cracker Barrel, their goal is to just delete the personality altogether. Hence the elimination of the old timer from the signage. Heritage is what got Cracker Barrel this far, and now the CEO wants to just scrape it all away. At Steak and Shake, we take pride in our history, our families, and American values. All are welcome. We will never market ourselves away from our past in a cheap effort to gain the approval of trend seekers. I just want to tell you, having worked in an advertising agency, a big advertising agency, one of our clients was Papa John's. For that to get posted, it went through a number of different people first to get it approved. And obviously, at something this strong, the CEO probably had to step in and go, yeah, go ahead and post that. They took a shot at, I don't think Cracker Barrel could be conceived or thought of as a competitor, but they took a shot at another restaurateur and said, that ain't us. We're not doing it. We're not throwing away heritage. Now, I understand Steak 'n Shake is a relatively new chain. I don't think they've been around nearly as long as Cracker Barrel. But you don't throw away what got you there. And we all, every single one of us in marketing, have always looked at the value of a brand. And one of the biggest mistakes in all of advertising, if all of retail, was what happened with Coke and New Coke. It was the defining chapter in Marketing 101. Don't do this. In other words, don't F with it if it ain't broke. I understand Cracker Barrel has had some breakage because their sales have been down, but that's other reasons. Why don't you fix what's broken instead of not fixing or not breaking what it doesn't, it's not broke, or something like that. Your food has declined. Your service has declined. Your brand didn't decline unless you're saying that your service and your food are part of your brand. Fix that. Fix your brand. Fix what was wrong with your brand. People go to Cracker Barrel because they want a slice of yesterday. They want the welcoming smell of the fire in the fireplace. They like the little pegboard game that they even put that out to DEI. They changed it so that, it makes it easier so nobody's a loser. You have put in charge of these corporations the kids we used to stuff in lockers in high school. And I don't mean that with any bragging to it. I was a bully, I guess you could say. But these were the outcast kids, and you've put them in charge of companies. You've put them in charge of multi-million-dollar corporations, and they don't know what the hell they're doing. They went to some Ivy League school and then got the diploma, but they don't have any business sense. This is insane. Absolutely insane what they did instead of fixing the problem. And so now you've spent $700 million rebranding, but you didn't spend any money fixing the problem. You used to be able to walk into Cracker Barrel and you would get like a nice hot bowl of biscuits. They just brought that out just because you had the foresight to come and sit down at Cracker Barrel. Hey man, these biscuits are good. And you can play a little game and you get something to drink, the old soda pop in the bottle and everything else. That's what made Cracker Barrel. And it was genius. It was always sold out on a Sunday morning, depending on where you live. And you had to sit there or walk through the store. The e-commerce store, or the commerce store, was the retail, was the waiting room, basically. And you had the rocking chairs outside. And how many of you have ever gone to any restaurant, anywhere, where you had to wait in line, and outside there was these cool-ass rocking chairs? And you could just sit there and rock, and the time would pass away. You could talk to your family. You could play checkers while you're waiting for your table. It was an iconic brand, and she destroyed it. Completely destroyed it. And so from a marketing perspective 101, Papa John's survived the whole thing about Papa John's being a racist, which was complete BS. Might have been a drunk, but he's not a racist. They survived it. You know why? Because it's still better pizza, better ingredients. They didn't change the stuff that was working. They, got rid of him because they thought he was the thing that what. But they didn't kill their brand. They brought in Shaquille O'Neal. They did some things like that. But hey, better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's. Which my boss was the one who came up with that information, that slogan. And so as I watched this stuff with Cracker Barrel and how they've completely destroyed it, I'm going to tell you this. It's worse than Bud Light. Here's why it's worse than Bud Light. Bud Light goes and they bring in Dylan Mulvaney, and everyone's like, are you flipping kidding me? I am not buying this stuff. But Bud Light was still Bud Light. And so if they got rid of him and they brought in Peyton Manning, and some of the people said, you know what, I don't mind this piss beer. I kind of like it. It's cheap. I can drink this. I know what Bud Light tastes like. So now that you've gotten rid of the DEI, some of the people are coming back because they know what Bud Light tastes like. Cracker Barrel did the complete opposite. You can't go back because I'm like, where's the old dude sitting on the Cracker Barrel? Not there, huh? Okay, so let's go in and have some. Oh, you don't give me biscuits anymore. No, I don't get any biscuits. All right, so can I order this or that? What's a double latte scrappley? No, I want a hot cup of coffee. They effed up. And the only way they're going to recover, the only way, is if they figure it out really quick and go back and realize you need to fix. Put the logo back. Put the old man back out there. You don't even have to say you're sorry. Just put it out there. People will see you're sorry. And then fix the problems you do have. Your food sucks. It's really dropped off. And I understand your problem with service. Ever since COVID hit, oops, I said the word. Ever since that happened, service at many, many restaurants has fallen off. So what do you need to do? As I told you with real estate, it's a matter of supply and demand. If you want the best service, you're going to have to pay for the best people. So now you're gonna have to up your pay to basically have an auction and get the best people to work in your restaurant. And you know what? You can raise your prices. Because if I haven't been to a Cracker Barrel in a while, but if I went in and I had stellar service and I had good food, I would go back more often and I would pay more for it. There's a reason why people buy expensive watches. There's a reason why people buy expensive cars. They're willing to pay for it if the value is there. And you strip the value completely away and still serving up a crappy product. That ain't going to work. Never going to work in marketing. Never, ever, ever. So Cracker Barrel, Steak and Shake called you out and they told you, you messed up. And whoever put this woman and the other woman in charge with the big giant glasses, you effed up big time.